Welcome, dear viewers, to another episode of On Two Wheels. You will notice we are starting in a dealership this time around, and there's a reason for that. A lot of people start their motorcycling lives in places like this because they come in, they want to get a motorcycle, and they gravitate towards bikes like these.
Super sports.
Because they are so sweet. Look at them.
I mean, they look like they're going really fast just sitting here.
Exactly. So, this episode we're going to experiment with the many stages of sport bike ownership. In this case, we've started here. So step one, naturally, is...
debt.
Debt, maybe debt, hopefully not. Maybe a nicer word for debt like financing or something.
But in any case, if you're plunking down a fair amount of cash on your brand new Super Sport, you got to make the right decision. There's a lot of factors here, but you just want to make sure that you're getting the dopest of the dope.
I'm glad he brought up the dopest of the dope. Actually, that's the perfect segue to the 2017 R6, if you know what I mean. $12,200, and it is where my money would go if I was gonna get one of these bikes. Because if you've paid attention to racing over the past 10 or 15 years, you know an R6 has been at the top of basically every single one.
A lot of wins over the years.
A lot of wins. Plus, it's basically literally white hot. I don't know if you noticed. Got that high vis and white silver. And it revs to approximately 100,000 RPM. Little known fact.
16,005 is the actual red line, but that is really high.
Super high.
And honestly, it's a factor for a lot of people when they're picking out a Super Sport.
Like me.
Yeah, but I would be willing to spend my just 12.
How much is your bike?
11.7 on my Kawasaki here because it's a Ninja. It is the iconic sport bike, plus it's green, happens to be one of my favorite colors. Sure. Plus, the 636 model, I got an extra 37 cc's on his little 599, so you know, bigger is better.
Yeah. He's cheating right off the bat, as you know.
Cheating and paying less.
So. You don't have ABS though.
I don't need it, I got skill.
Okay. Okay. This is another perfect segue, because once you have your sweet new sport bike, what you need is a sport bike bro to argue with, and you need a point on the map to head out on a day ride.
Yeah, so we got to push these bikes out of the dealership, load up our backpacks with some water and snacks, ride out of suburbia, across LA, and up to the twisty road mecca that is Malibu Mountains and beyond.
All right, man. Hitting some corners, riding some twisties. This is stage 2 of sport bike ownership. This is the stuff that everyone fantasizes about when they get these kind of motorcycles.
This is it.
It's all about being on the side of the tire. It's about being able to release some of that horsepower, twist the throttle, and go.
And speaking of being on the side of the tire, they feel darn good on the side of the tire, do they not? Yes. When you start to peel through some corners, but even like second gear, slow corners, whatever, they just feel right when you're leaning off just a little bit and you have weight on your feet, and like you can tell it's what the bike wants to do.
Yeah, they're very specialized pieces of equipment, and they might not necessarily fit in well if you're riding around the city or the suburbs or if you're commuting. But once you get them in this environment and being able to open the throttle and rev the things out, like obviously R6 especially is not making a lot of power down low.
Yep.
But like when you can finally breach 10,000 RPM and you get an inline 4 engine singing, it is definitely exciting and satisfying.
Yeah, it's wicked. We should say also that we rode these bikes on a racetrack.
Yes, we did.
Because you can't really experiment with any sport bike's full potential on a road like this. Not responsibly, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's very much what these things are, is race bikes with lights. And the fact is, we have both ridden these bikes on the racetrack, and we've raced their predecessors. You raced an early model R6.
That's true.
I raced an 09 ZX-6. And we should tell you guys, because you probably want to know, that having ridden them both recently at Truckwalla, they're extremely comparable.
I'd say we have to give the nod a little bit to the R6. It's just like a little bit sharper.
Yep.
And you can tell that it's designed more for the racetrack than the 636, which, let's remember, when they came out with that version of 636, they were all about how it's a better street bike and how much more livable it was going to be on the street.
Yep, that was part of the reason they added the extra displacement. They softened up the suspension a little bit. It's got slightly more relaxed ergonomics than that bike. Like the handlebars are a little closer, so you're not carrying quite as much weight on your wrists.
Yeah, so frankly, I don't even know what you're doing up here in Malibu with your street bike. I got a race bike with lights, bro.
Yeah, well, you know, I got that extra displacement to just pull away from you.
That is true. I will say, on the topic of race bike with lights, I'm starting to feel a little bit of pressure on my wrists, if I'm honest. And yeah, and the frame is pretty hot to the touch. It's like cooking my legs a little bit.
Suck it up, man. That's the price you pay for performance. This is sport bike life.
Okay. All right. I just got a long way to go. Is all I'm saying. But I'll do wheelies. I'll feel better. I got it.
That'll do it for
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Unfortunately, twisty roads don't last forever. The realities of a road trip mean slogging across some landscapes that are straight and bumpy and monotonous, even if they are pretty.
The occasional wheelie helps break up the boredom, but there is a limit to the fun you can have, legally anyway, on a sport bike in these conditions. They're sexy, precise machines, but they're not always awesome transportation.
Definitely understand why you see so many guys riding sport bikes on the highway with their arm on the tank. Like,
Yeah.
You definitely need, your spine needs some relief.
No one's core is strong enough for this. Not even Ari Henning.
There's no number of Romanian deadlifts you could do to prepare yourself for this torture.
Reality was setting in. The bike's high seats, low clip-ons, and engines that produce a lot of power and a lot of heat were beginning to take their toll on us.
Even with roadside yoga sessions, we couldn't ward off the discomfort in our necks, backs, and butts.
Was that Johnny Ray leaving the pits, or was that Ari Henning? So hard to say.
Droning across the straight bits really starts to reveal deeper sport bike problems. And as you're getting your backside slammed by stiff suspension and your wrists are aching, you start to have your doubts.
I don't know, Zach. My neck and my wrists are really starting to hurt, man.
Yeah, I'm tired of this.
I mean, as you're getting hammered by bumps through stiff sport bike suspension and your ass is aching and your wrists hurt, I mean, you're starting to doubt if you've made the right decision. You went out and dropped a bunch of coin on this high-performance machine, and at this point in the game, you're at the stage of doubt.
I'm not sure what stage number it is, but yeah, that's what you're getting to. Like a little bit of remorse and regret.
Starts to creep in. You're like, that dealership was full of other motorcycles, and you got drawn towards the sleek, aerodynamic, sexy sport bike, but
You're just not sure anymore. That's what it is.
yeah. The one good thing about sport bikes is like you don't have a whole lot of range, so you get to stop and stretch every once in a while, but let's go find a gas pump and reassess our situation.
Yeah, I like it.
I don't know, Zach. We've done everything we can. We stop and take rest breaks every 30 miles.
Yep.
We stopped and did yoga, stretched our necks and backs and everything else that's aching. I mean, we just had lunch. We got full tummies. We should be totally satisfied, but these bikes are just miserable to ride.
They're not street bikes, are they?
No, they're not. I mean, all signs are pointing towards us having reached another stage in motorcycle ownership.
You know what it feels like to me? It feels like we've gotten to the final stage of sport bike ownership, where we don't ride sport bikes anymore, maybe? You think?
Yeah, I hate to admit it, man,
Yeah,
but it's painful to ride.
What about this thing? It's got an enormous MotoGP radiator. It's cooking I think I'm sterile actually now. The frame is hot to the touch.
Yeah.
And it's a torture rack, man.
Yeah, I mean, we did learn that the R6 is literally the sportiest of the super sports. And we learned that the ZX-6 is a marginally better street bike. I mean, It's got softer suspension, so it's not rocking your skeleton. It's not as far of a reach to the handlebars. It's got a lot more mid-range, and it's not so hot that it's just cooking your boys all the time.
You're basically on a sport tour.
Yeah, right, man. It's still just they're not good street bikes. There's got to be a better option.
I think there is. What about these ones, by the way? Yeah. What about these ones?
Who the hell are those guys?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but man, are they handsome. I say we let them take it from here.
Our first act as the new handsome hosts was to put those crazy crotch rockets up for sale. Signs made, bikes parked, and we were well on our way to the delightfully upright stage of sport bike ownership.
Oh, so much better.
Yes.
What we have here, ladies and gentlemen, is Kawasaki's very own Z900.
And Yamaha's now iconic FZ-09. And
Yup.
what they are, obviously, is taller and more comfortable.
So much more comfortable.
They have larger engines with more torque.
Lots more.
And they cost less money.
Yeah.
So maybe this is what we needed all along, right?
Yeah.
But there's a very important piece to this puzzle, which is that if you're a recent sport bike owner and you just got rid of your ZX-6 or R6 and got one of these bikes, you're probably thinking, oh no, what have I done? Now when I go to a twisty road, everybody's going to make fun of me because this thing's not going to be able to keep up.
Yeah, so the important question that we want to answer for you is, do these naked bikes still hold their own in terms of sporting potential? And that, dear audience, is a question we're willing to answer for you and for science.
Okay. We've done our due diligence, everybody.
There's never quite enough due diligence, really.
Yeah, that's fair, that's true. But the good news, though, is really good news, which is that these are the right bikes to be on. Sure enough.
Oh my God, they're so much better in so many ways. The one way that they're not better is in outright performance, like ragged edge, riding hard.
Like me on the ground performance.
Like racetrack performance.
Exactly.
So you're giving up like 2 ounces of ragged edge motorcycling performance, and you're gaining 5 pounds of comfort, mid-range torque, and fun. I mean, just everywhere else that you're going to ride them besides the racetrack, better motorcycles.
100%. Yeah, the suspension isn't quite as refined, and the handling's not quite as precise, and the brakes aren't quite as sharp as those bikes. But I mean, it's just like incremental. I mean, even riding fast on the street like you and I have been doing, these bikes are more than adequate. They're great.
Yeah, and you can't, a 600 Supersport has so much performance, you can't even begin to scratch the surface on the street. It's just not
a
safe.
good idea.
But with a bike like the Z900, I mean, you're immediately enjoying what it has to offer. It's got a big old 948cc inline 4. It's got so much torque, so you're accelerating right away. I mean, this is a new model for 17. Like, Kawasaki's been looking around, seeing all the naked bikes that everyone else is making, and they updated their own. So they basically combined the Z800 and the Z1000 to make this bike, but it's lighter, it's got a better motor, it's smoother running.
Way better.
And it's $8,800 with ABS, which is cheaper than the FZ-09.
Well, more CCs than the FZ-09, fewer dollars than the FZ-09. We went from cheater bike to cheater bike.
Yeah, what can I say?
But jokes aside, that is really saying something that the Z900 undercuts the FZ-09's price, because the FZ-09 has been this like cornerstone of bang for the buck motorcycling ever since it came out. It did get more expensive for 2017. It's now $9,000 on showroom floors, but it also got a bunch of updates. It got better suspension, it got traction control, ABS, LED headlights, new styling.
And it's still so much cheaper than an R6.
$3,200 cheaper than an R6.
Yeah.
It's so much money.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. So those are all excellent points to make for the viewers out there that are trying to make a decision, but we didn't make a decision. If you're going to spend your money, what bike you get? Come on, man.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up.
People want to know.
I get an FZ-09.
Yeah?
Yep, because I ride in a city. That's my life. I ride in a city. I don't mind the soft suspension. I love the triple. I love that it's lighter.
Yep.
And
you love to do wheelies.
And I love doing wheelies. And it does great wheelies.
It does great wheelies.
And you get one of these too, right?
I think I would get the Z900, honestly.
What?
Yeah.
No, you would.
I
really.
would. It's just
Why?
it's just as good as the FZ-09. And honestly, dude, we already have the same helmet. I can't get the same bike as you. We ride together all the time. People think that'll be way too weird.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Well, the bottom line is, if you get either one of these bikes, you're probably going to be happier than you would be on a frickin' sport bike where you'd be leaning on your wrist and getting your nuts cooked.
Yeah, and if we could get away around this lumbering van with the camera on the back of it, we might actually make some time.
I've got high hopes. Go for it. Do it.
Like we said in the beginning, every day ride needs a point on a map. Ours was the quaint little tourist destination of Solvang, California.
It's known for Danish architecture, Danish pastries, wine tasting, and the occasional colorful local.
As tasty as the pastries were, we'd ridden to Solvang for a different reason. A motorcycle museum, to be specific, tucked into an unassuming complex just off the main drag. Smells like a vintage museum.
It's not exactly the Barber Motorcycle Museum, no, But for a couple gearheads like us, it was all we had hoped for and a perfect reason to take the ride.
Is this the 2017 Indian Chieftain? No, it's the 38. They've just done a really good job at maintaining the traditional appearance.
soupy fenders.
Check this out. This is damping. Friction damping.
Yup.
They're just like, moving around too much, just tighten stuff down.
It's a small collection, but man, are there some historic sport bikes there. There's a Britain V1000, a Kawasaki H1R, a matchless G50, even a Norton Manx. Shoot, we even saw an Ariel Square 4.
Not the only Ariel in the house.
All right, so we are cruising around this incredible motorcycle museum, looking at all these legendary bikes, these iconic sport bikes. This is an NR750, guys. This is a proper icon.
Yeah.
And starting to feel a little bit guilty, like you might have flamed the R6 and the ZX-6 for being bad street bikes.
Basically, we're realizing we're doing exactly what we told everyone not to do, which is lust over sport
I mean,
bikes.
they look so cool.
They're really cool. I mean, we don't want to live in a world where sport bikes don't exist. That's what we're realizing, that every other motorcycle has to have something to look up to, right?
Yeah, I mean, we need sport bikes so that manufacturers have a reason to make more power, to make better brakes, to pursue better suspension. Like, we need it because having that technology is the reason that the Z900 and the FZ-09 are so good.
Indeed. Not to mention traction control, ABS. Those are the kind of things that advance and get more refined when people try to go as fast as they can around a racetrack.
Yeah, so, you know, this episode might have been a little bit of an on two wheels PSA warning people about the realities of living with a super sport on the day-to-day. But if you want a sport bike, do it.
Yeah. I mean, we probably wouldn't get one, as we said, but it could be that all of the stages of sport bike ownership do need to be experienced in order to be appreciated.
It's deep, bro.
Thanks, man.
That's good.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much
all we have
it
to
for
say.
this episode on Two Wheels. Yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed riding along with us. And if you did, you should subscribe because Zach and I do this kind of stuff all the time. Motorcycles are our jam.
We'll see you on the next ride, everybody.
You're riding a snake, bro.
You love snakes.
I do.
Found it!
Oh, Moto Guzzi doesn't want to wave.
Nope.
Still not waving. Okay, fine. Too cool for us.
We got this.
He's outside.
26 minutes.
Like, shake it up.
What's that? Is the battery coming loose?
Wave back.
No wave at all. What the?
The hell's up with that? Hayden! Try and extend an olive branch of peace to the scooter rider, and he shuts me down.
No.
I'm gonna go back and kick his ass.
That's exactly what we need.